September 2008, a 158-year-old bank, a titan of Wall Street. Poof, gone, overnight. $600 billion just vanished. Retirement accounts evaporated. Millions of jobs deleted. The global economy. Teetering on the edge of a cartoon cliff ledge, scrambling on thin air. It was chaos. It was panic. It was the great financial crisis. And it feels complicated, scary, like something only guys in expensive suits should worry about. But what if I told you this entire skyscraper of financial doom, this global meltdown that ruined lives, wasn't built on complex algorithms? What if I told you the real story? The simple story didn't start with a crash at all. Oh no. It started with a party. A massive decade-long everybody is invited party. The music was loud, the drinks were free, and the bouncers were fast asleep, and the price of admission. Well, that was the best part. It was a lie. A tiny, simple, almost believable lie summed up in just 6 words. Why rent when you can own? To understand the party, you gotta know why it started. It's the early 2000s. America is nursing 2 massive hangovers. First, the dot-com bubble burst, all that new economy magic. Yeah, it vaporized, taking trillions of dollars with it. Then, 9/11 happened. The country was scared, the nation was in mourning, and the economy just stopped. People stopped flying, people stopped spending. The whole system was grinding to a halt. The party was over, so the government needed a hero. In walks the Fed, the Federal Reserve. Think of them as the economy's bartender. And their big boss at the time, Alan Greenspan, saw the empty bar and said, "This place needs a drink." But he didn't just offer a beer, he grabbed the giant red fire hose labeled interest rates and cranked that sucker down. All the way down, from over 6% to 1%. 1%. Do you understand what that means? It means money became stupidly cheap. It was basically free. When it costs almost nothing to borrow, why wouldn't you? The Fed had essentially just spiked the entire nation's punch bowl with pure uncut optimism. The message was clear. Go borrow, go spend, go buy houses. And oh, the banks loved this. They were the ones pouring the drinks. Suddenly, every bank in America turned into that overly enthusiastic guy at a party shoving drinks in your hand. Hey, you look responsible. Want some money? Here's $300,000. Go buy a condo. What about you? You have a pulse, right? Great. Here's $500,000. Go get that suburban palace with the granite countertops. This wasn't just about borrowing. It was about the American dream. That house with the white picket fence, stability, status, proof that you'd made it. And now that dream wasn't just for your parents who saved for 20 years, it was for everyone. Right now. The banks got so excited about lending they stopped, asking questions. Boring questions. Like, can you pay this back? Psh, details. They got creative. They invented all sorts of fun new loans, adjustable rate mortgages, interest-only loans, balloon payments, and my personal favorite, the Ninja loan. That is not a joke. It stands for no income, no job, no assets. I'm serious. Picture a bank. A guy walks in. He's literally a ninja. Black pajamas mask the whole thing. The banker says, "So what do you do for a living?" The ninja just stares and throws a shuriken into the wall. Thwack. The banker looks at the quivering star, looks back at the ninja, and slides a piece of paper over. Fantastic, just sign here, Mr. Ninja. You are pre-approved for $750,000. Congratulations on your new McMansion. This was happening everywhere. Baristas with $500 in savings were getting $500,000 loans. Cab drivers were buying 3 condos. Lenders weren't selling mortgages anymore. They were throwing them like confetti at a parade. Mortgage brokers were making commissions so fast they didn't have time to cash the checks. It was a gold rush. But they weren't digging for gold. They were building houses on foundations of cheap debt, and everyone was getting rich. What could possibly go wrong? Well, here's the thing about a party built on free money. Pretty soon you run out of good guests. The banks had already given loans to all the prime borrowers, the doctors, the lawyers, the accountants, the people with boring, stable jobs and good credit scores, but the party had to keep going. The commissions had to keep flowing. The music couldn't stop, so the banks looked past the velvet rope and into the alley. And there they found the subprime borrower. Subprime. It's a nice-sounding word. It just means less good, a bit sketchy. These were loans for people with bad credit, no savings, or a creative relationship with paying their bills on time. If a prime loan was a healthy, reliable golden retriever, a subprime loan was, well, a sickly, coughing raccoon. A raccoon wearing a tiny, torn-up tuxedo trying to look fancy, but definitely a raccoon. And the banks. They looked at this coughing, wheezing little loan, and the salesperson in their brain kicked in. Oh, don't worry about that cough. He's got character, he's got potential. Look, he's barely breathing, but he signed the paper. He's good for it. Probably Gerdinsalm. And they didn't just invite one of these subprime loans to the party. They invited millions of them. By 2006, 1 out of every 5 new mortgages was a subprime raccoon. They were giving $500,000 mortgages to people whose entire financial history screamed, "I cannot even be trusted with a Netflix password." But why would they take such an obvious, insane risk? This is where it gets serious. This is the moment. The banks had a secret belief, a magic safety net that made all this insanity seem rational. It was the core assumption, the linchpin for the entire collapse. This is the secret they whispered to themselves and to their investors and to the whole world. It went like this. Even if this sickly little subprime loan just dies, who cares? It doesn't matter. Because the house we lent him money for, its value is going up. It's always going up. If he defaults, we'll just take the house and sell it for more money than we loaned him. We literally can't lose. Oh, did you catch that? Let's say it again. Housing, prices, always go up. Oh, that, right there. That was the lie. The big one. The one that lit the match. Because for the first time in modern history, and they were about to be spectacularly, apocalyptically wrong. So now we have a big problem. The banks, the guys who started the party, are in trouble. Their basements are full of these subprime raccoon loans, millions of them, all coughing, all looking very, very sick. You can't run a bank when your entire inventory is just sickly raccoons. If you're a bank, your job is to lend money, get it off your books, and then lend more money. You're a moving company, not a storage unit, but how do you sell this? Who would walk into a bank and say, "Yes, hello, I would like to purchase one of your finest dying raccoons, please?" Nobody. So the banks couldn't sell them. And this is where Wall Street gets creative. This is where they stop being bankers and become master alchemists, master chefs. The big investment banks, the Lehmans, the Goldman Sachs, the Bear Stearns, they step in and say, "Don't you worry, little neighborhood bank. We will buy all of your sickly raccoons for cash." The little banks were thrilled. Wow, thanks Wall Street. But why would they buy them? Because they had a plan. They had a kitchen. Picture a giant stainless steel industrial kitchen, and in the middle stands the Wall Street chef. Big white hat, fancy apron, looks very important. The chef looks at the mountains of subprime loans, the piles of rotting toxic meat. He also sees a smaller, nicer pile of prime loans, the healthy golden retriever loans. He can't sell the raccoon meat, it's poison. So he says, "I won't sell it. I'll process it." "Here's the recipe," says the chef. "We take 5,000 of these sick subprime raccoon loans. We take 5,000 of the healthy prime golden retriever loans, and we throw them all into one giant industrial or meat grinder. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. We grind it all up, mix it all together, churn it until nobody can tell which part is the healthy dog and which part is the diseased raccoon. Then," says the chef, "we stuff this new mystery meat slurry into a beautiful shiny new sausage casing, and we will not call it a box of loans. We will call it a mortgage-backed security." An MBS. Ooh, fancy. It sounds so smart, so safe. It's not one risky loan anymore. It's a diversified financial product. It's genius. They took thousands of individual, smelly, obvious risks, bundled them together, and called the bundle safe. And then they sold these MBS sausages to everyone. Pension funds. You should buy this, it's safe. Universities. You need this for your endowment. Banks in Iceland. Ja, we'll take 12. The sales pitch was simple. You don't want to buy one risky loan, do you? Of course not. But what about buying a tiny slice of 10,000 loans? The risk is diversified. But wait, investors aren't that stupid. They're going to look at this new sausage and ask the obvious question, is this safe to eat? How do we know it's not full of, raccoons? The chef needs a stamp of approval. He needs a food critic. Enter the rating agencies, Standard & Poor's, Moody's. These guys are the supposed referees of the financial world, the health inspectors. Their only job is to be the honest, independent adult in the room. Their job is to taste the sausage and tell the world this is safe or this is poison. So the Wall Street chef brings his new shiny MBS sausage to the food critic. The critic, let's call him Mr. Moody, sniffs it. This smells a little twitchy. A little rabid, perhaps. The Wall Street chef just smiles, and he slides a giant overflowing bag of money across the table. This, says the chef, is your rating fee. We are paying you to rate our sausage. Mr. Moody looks at the sausage. He looks at the giant bag of money. He sniffs the money. You know what? On second sniff, this smells delicious. This smells like prime rib. This isn't Raccoon at all. This is the finest, safest, most delicious sausage in the history of food. Stamp A. A-rated. The highest possible rating. The stamp of perfect safety. Safer than the United States government. And that was the real crime. The referees were being paid by the players. The health inspector was being paid by the kitchen he was supposed to be inspecting. It's like asking a student to grade their own homework after you just gave them $1 million. What grade do you think they're going to give themselves? So now, thanks to the paid-off critics, these garbage sausages, officially labeled gourmet food, were flying off the shelves. But the chef wasn't done cooking. Oh no, that was just the appetizer. See, even in those natural sausages, there were parts, the really bad parts. The bits of the sausage that were just unsellable. The bits that were so obviously 100% Raccoon. Even the paid-off critics couldn't call them AEA. They called them B or BB, the toxic sludge at the bottom of the grinder. What do you do with the sludge? The chef looks at the buckets and buckets of toxic sludge, leftover bits from all the other sausages, and he has an idea, a horrible, brilliant, world-ending idea. I know. We'll do it again. Take the sludge from this sausage, and the sludge from that sausage, and the sludge from those 100 other sausages. Put it all into the grinder. A second time. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. We'll call this Franken sausage a collateralized debt obligation, a CDO. This is financial alchemy. It's making a brand new sausage out of other sausages leftover toxic bits. And the craziest part, the absolute most insane part, they took this new monstrosity, this sausage of sludge, and they brought it back to the same food critic. And the critic, now rich and fat on rating fees, looked at this thing, and he stamped it AA2. Wow, just wow, they had done it. Wall Street had figured out how to turn radioactive waste into solid gold. On paper, the kitchen was running 24/7. The bonuses were in the billions. The whole world was feasting on this gourmet garbage. The system was perfect, except for one tiny microscopic detail. It was still garbage, and eventually someone was going to get food poisoning. So the whole world is at a feast happily eating toxic AAA-rated sausages, and the chefs at Wall Street's kitchen are getting stupidly rich. The party is raging, but not everyone was at the party. A few people, let's call them the oddballs, were standing in the alley, sniffing the dumpsters. These were the guys who actually read the 500-page ingredient list. The math nerds, the social outcasts, the ones who saw the world differently. And they smelled it. The unmistakable, rotten stench of Raccoon. They looked at the Wall Street kitchen and didn't see a AAA-rated restaurant. They saw a greasy ticking structural integrity of zero time bomb. They knew it was going to burn down. So what do you do when you know a building is going to collapse? You buy fire insurance. But here's the problem. There was no insurance for this. You couldn't just walk into an office and say, "Hi, I'd like to bet that the entire American housing market is a giant lie." That was un-American. So the oddballs marched straight to the biggest, richest, most stable insurance company on planet Earth, AIG. Think of AIG as a giant, overconfident, sleepy casino. They were so big, they were considered safer than the government. The oddball walks up to the AIG betting window. "Hi, I'd like to place a bet." AIG, the giant board cashier, looks up. "A bet on what, tiny person?" "I want to buy fire insurance on your Wall Street kitchen, the one you all say is fireproof." AIG just laughs. A big, deep, arrogant laugh. "Ha, that's adorable. That kitchen is all A-rated. It's made of magic and genius. It cannot burn. But sure, you want to give us free money? We love free money." And so they invented a new product. AIG said, "Here's the deal. You pay us $1 million every single month for as long as the kitchen doesn't burn. If by some impossible 1 in a trillion miracle it does burn, we will pay you $1 billion. The oddball stared back. Deal. AIG thought they were printing free money. They were collecting massive, steady paychecks on an event they thought was impossible. This new private bet got a fancy, boring name, a credit default swap, a CDS. It was just fire insurance. A secret side bet on whether the sausages would explode, and AIG, they didn't just sell one of these bets, they sold them to everyone. And now, here it is. This is the part that turned a stupid idea into a global catastrophe. When you buy fire insurance for your house, you have to own the house right. That makes sense. You have a stake in it. But this wasn't insurance. This was a casino. And in this casino, you didn't have to own the house to buy insurance on it. You could buy fire insurance on your neighbor's house. You could buy fire insurance on your boss's house. You could buy fire insurance on a house you've never even seen. Think about that. It's like buying life insurance on your neighbor's grandma and then just hoping she has a really bad day on the stairs. It's sick. AIG wasn't just insuring the kitchen, they were taking billions, trillions of dollars in side bets from everyone in the world, all betting on whether the kitchen would burn. German banks bought these bets. Pension funds in California bought them. Other Wall Street banks bought them. The entire global financial system, all of them, were now connected by invisible wires to this one single, stupid bet. AIG had sold trillions of dollars of protection on a kitchen they thought was fireproof without saving a single penny to actually pay if it burned. They had built a nuclear bomb, lit the fuse, and then used it as a very expensive chair. Wow. The party music was still playing, but the floor was starting to crack. It started in 2007. Just a whisper. "Hey, did you hear Bob missed his mortgage payment? And so did Susan. And so did that ninja guy. Remember all those adjustable rate mortgages, the free money teasers? Well, the free part ended. The teaser rates expired, and all those subprime Raccoon loans, the ones who were already coughing, their monthly payments suddenly doubled. Then tripled. And one by one, pop, 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 they defaulted, which is a polite word for they died. But that's fine, right? What was the bank's magic safety net? Oh, we'll just sell the house for more. But guess what? When everyone is defaulting and then everyone is trying to sell their house at the exact same time, housing prices, They don't always go up. They stopped. And then they fell. This was it. The Jenga block. The one single load-bearing block at the very bottom of the tower? The lie. Housing prices always go up. Someone had just pulled it out, and the entire tower wobbled. All those MBS sausages. Suddenly, everyone woke up. Wait a minute, these aren't AAA meat. These are all Raccoon and the CDO Franken sausages, the ones made of sludge. They weren't just toxic, they were worthless. Panic. The oddballs, the nerds who read the fine print, they calmly walked back to the AIG casino. Hi, remember us? The kitchen, it's on fire. Pay us, now. And AIG, the giant, arrogant, safer than the government casino, just stared. They checked their pockets. Money. What money? We don't have $1 billion. We definitely don't have $1 trillion. AIG, the biggest insurance company on earth, was broke. And when that news hit, the real panic started. The Wall Street banks, the ones also holding all this garbage, started to call each other. Lehman Brothers, the 158-year-old titan, made a phone call. Hey, Goldman Sachs, it's me, Lehman. I need a loan, a quick one, just to get through the night. Click. They tried again. Hey, JP Morgan buddy. Click. Nobody would lend to anyone because nobody knew who was holding the toxic sausage. The party stopped. The music cut out. The fire hose of free money that the Fed had turned on. It was suddenly bone dry. The entire global system, the credit that businesses use for payroll, the loans we use for cars, it froze. Solid. Lehman Brothers, that 158-year-old titan, crumbled into dust. So, the kitchen is burnt. The casino is broke. The system is dead. It's over. But then, a new sound. Whoomp, whoomp, whoomp. It's a helicopter, and flying it is Uncle Sam, the government. He looks down at the smoking, toxic, radioactive crater of Wall Street, and he makes a decision. This kitchen, this casino, it's too big to fail. That's the official term. It means they're so important, so connected to everything, that if you let them die, they take everyone down with them. The ATMs go dark. The payroll checks stop. The entire world economy. Poof. So Uncle Sam hovers over the smoking wreckage and pushes a giant, enormous, colossal bag out of the helicopter. A bag labeled $700 billion. It was called TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program. It was the bailout. The Wall Street chef, the AIG cashiers, the guys who lit the match looked up and were showered in cash. Meanwhile, down on Main Street, a regular person, a normal everyday doodle, is standing next to his foreclosed house. He's holding an empty wallet. He looks up at the helicopter. He sees the money raining down on the burnt kitchen, and he asks, "Hey, wait a minute. Is that my tax money?" And Uncle Sam just looks down, puts a finger to his lips. "Shh, we have to save the kitchen. If they die, we all die. Just, don't stand so close to your house." So the kitchen was saved. AIG was saved. The banks were saved. Wall Street took that $700 billion, that taxpayer money, and, well, first, they used it to pay themselves record bonuses. I am not making that up. The chefs, the guys who cooked the toxic sausages, got rewarded with our money for burning the entire world down. Meanwhile, 8 million people lost their jobs. Millions of families lost their homes. The regular person doodle. He was now standing in a soup kitchen line. Wall Street popped champagne. Main Street got soup. The profits had been privatized. The losses had been socialized. And now, for the final O, the biggest O of the entire story, for all this fraud, this greed, this global destruction. How many high-level C-suite top-dog Wall Street CEOs went to prison? How many were charged? How many even got handcuffed? Here is the number. 0. A big, fat, perfectly round zero. Nobody. Not one. The party was over. The regular people got the bill and a 10-year hangover and the kitchen. They got the bailout money and permission to build the new kitchen, even bigger. And that, in one simple, oh, is why an entire generation stopped believing in the system.